how can you just sit and be one with yourself and just realize, like, how do you know your own voice? How can you trust yourself?
Right. Yeah, that is an awesome question. And you are absolutely right. I mean, it is a crazy time to get clarity. I mean, you've got, everyone saying this is what's true. No, this is what's true. No, this conspiracy is true. I mean, it's all over the board. But I'll tell you this, energy never lies. And there is an energetic component to the truth that we intuitively all recognize. If I sat you down and said, all right, is this person telling the truth? And your mind might go, yeah, because they're saying what you want to hear. Mm-hmm. But if I pulled that away from you and said, okay, now are they telling the truth? And you actually then had to go to your intuitive senses, you'd go, absolutely not. They're not telling the truth. So when we see, for example, politicians saying something, we all instinctively know. Right. We know whether it's true or not. You cannot lie to your own soul. You can't lie to your energy, and your energy can't lie. So I always tell folks, first thing you need to understand about your intuitive system is what keeps it from being clear for you. And that is actually like sitting down and doing an inventory of, okay, for example, obviously social media is a big deal now. Like, how does social media influence my perception and my capacity to stay self-connected? And self-connection for me is I'm with myself no matter what. If I mess up, if I'm not perfect, if I'm 10 pounds overweight, if I'm whatever it is, I'm still with me. Yeah. I'm not going to abandon me. If you're in any form of self-abandonment, the only intuitive guidance that you're going to be open to receive and that you most need to receive is get self-connected now. So you have to kind of understand your intuitive system's a truth teller. And if you don't like the truth for whatever reason, I'm saying this stuff and I struggle with it also. I mean, this is not like I've got this down, but I know how it works, because when I read someone else, it's easy. Reading myself or reading my own life sometimes is not that easy, because I, just like everybody, have my wants and my projections and my agendas. Yep. But agenda is not a friend to intuitive clarity. It'll skew what you see. And so the example I love to give people all the time, because I've seen it so many times in readings and just watching life, is dating. So when you meet somebody, some part of you is already like, or okay, I'm up for date too. Right. Right. So you're either getting from your intuitive system, or you're getting okay, but here's what your ego mind is going to do. It's going to go into a date with all these perfectionist checklists, usually. Like, okay, are they this? Are they this? Are they this? Check, 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 check. And all you're reading is a persona, a mask of someone. And we all have a mask we wear. I mean, I'm not making it right or wrong. I'm just naming technically what's true here. Is you're usually, when you first meet somebody, date number one, you're meeting a mask, and they're meeting a mask that you have. And it doesn't mean that there's not something in that mask that isn't authentic, but just know that it's not the full scoop. Right. So how many times have people gone on a date and they're like, oh, she's so hot. He's so hot. He's this, she's that, and instead of going, okay, let's get real. What kind of self-connection does this person have with themselves? What kind of boundaries do they have with themselves? And this is what I always tell someone: you want a clear read on anyone you're going to date, watch the kind of intimacy they have with them. And it takes a little while, not just one date's probably going to clue you in, but you're going to be like, okay, this person has this kind of intimacy with themselves, so I can trust that they can join me with the same intimacy level as well. But if you're watching someone that's in a story about themselves, and so that's where your readings are going to go out the window. Yeah. Is if you're going in with how you would like to see it be as the lens you look through only. It's okay to have your wants and desires, and certainly standards, but projections and agendas, so you've got to wrangle those in first, Joe. You got to be able to say, okay, what is it that I would like, and what's true about it? And when you ask a question like that, so my intuitive skill set works through questions. So like, I'm going to read you in a minute. You're going to give me a question, and I'm going to dial in, and we're going to see what comes up. But
shit,
it goes through questions. We don't have to, I'll do the LITE.
No. If anybody listens to this podcast, they know that I am the guinea pig, and I do everything ahead of time. They're like, oh, maybe I want to get a hold of Ohotto, or maybe I don't. This Joey just broke down like a little boy when he was 11 years old living in Appleton, Wisconsin. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I got too deep there. Carry on.
So, anyone that wants to start cultivating their intuitive skills, and I would say first start with this. Ask yourself what you can't admit or wouldn't want to know. Open your back door, open your shadow side and go, okay, well, what wouldn't I want to see? And it doesn't mean that, and I don't mean to take anyone to take what I'm saying around and be perfectionist and crazy with it with people and be like, oh my God, I got a bad vibe from you. Bye. Rather, because we're all messy human beings, and let's make room for that. And actually, the more we make room for that, the more we'll be able to see about each other, and the more we can connect. So, it's not that at all, but it's rather, hey, you gotta go in like, okay, I like this person, or I whatever, and tell the truth about it. So when it comes to your intuitive skills, you've got to be able to say, all right, I've got to know that I have a part of me that doesn't like the truth, that doesn't want to see clearly for whatever reason. And what I've tracked mostly for people, and this is where people can do some work to get clear, is that part of us that doesn't want to see clearly is completely connected to our low esteem. Because what we want to see usually is about projecting onto something how we can get to being enough. Right. So if I can date this person, then finally I'm enough. If I can get this job, then finally I'm enough. If I can get this career opportunity, then finally I'm enough. Instead of this soul truth, it's an intuitive truth. You're already enough. You've always been enough. You can never not but be enough. So if you can get that active in your system, and I can say that and everyone can be like, ooh, that sounds good. Let's smoke me some of that. Right. But the reality is, it doesn't mean it's active in your system. It doesn't mean it's an active force in your psychology and in how you perceive. It takes a little bit of lighting that fire and tending to that fire, right? And you got to kind of be like, okay, I call it soul esteem. I got to just know I'm enough just because I'm me. That's it. That's all I needed. It's all I ever needed. But if you have that active, and to the degree that you have, to see the truth, because the truth isn't about, well, if I tell the truth, then I don't get to enough through them or this or that. It's rather, no, I can just be with, all right, it's true that this person, they're giving me a great, for example, dinner date, but behind the scenes, they're an alcoholic. And I haven't seen that yet, but I'm reading it in their field. I'm getting a sense that I'm watching the fifth drink they're just now having at dinner, right. Instead of, ooh, they're just drinking because they're happy to be with me. No, right. They're really 5 drinks in. Yeah. Come on. It's like you start listening and you just realize the cost of not listening is really high. It can be painful to absorb the truths, but if you know you're enough, there's not a truth that's going to collapse you. It's going to propel and lift you up into, what you were meant to become and how you're meant to serve and all the things you're meant to do as part of living, as a force of grace in this life. And I'm telling you, I've done thousands and thousands of intuitive readings, and everyone is unique. I mean that. I don't just say that because it sounds cool. Like, everyone is a unique life plan. Everyone is a unique destiny. Everyone is a unique gift to life. So intuition serves that blossoming, and it serves connection, and it serves your truth, and it serves propelling all that you were born to become. And it is a ruthless truth teller. So if you're willing to be with the truth, I think the first thing I'd say is cultivate soul esteem, cultivate looking at your shadow side, and then cultivate a willingness to be with the truth. And your intuition, the thing is, it's always talking. It's not like you got to and ah and hum and get a crystal to get your guidance system up and running. It's already doing the thing, Just saying.